Picture a stick figure standing in a sunny field. Everything around it is fine, and above its head, a single storm cloud raining only on it, not because of the weather, because the figure is holding the cloud up there itself. That is what overthinking looks like from the outside. From the inside, it feels like careful thinking, like preparation, like you are doing something useful. You are not. 2,000 years ago, a philosopher named Seneca looked at that exact situation and wrote down what was actually happening. In the next few minutes, I want to walk through 9 things the Stoics noticed about the spinning mind, where it comes from, what it is actually doing, and, more importantly, the specific moves that interrupt it. Some of these are old observations, none of them are complicated, all of them are harder to apply than they sound, but 1 or 2 of them might be exactly what you needed to hear today. Here's the first one, and it might be the most relieving thing in this entire video. Seneca wrote a letter to his friend Lucilius titled, plainly, On Groundless Fears. In it he says this: "There are more things, Lucilius, likely to frighten us than there are to crush us. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Think about the image that goes with this. A tiny stone sitting on the ground. Next to it, on the wall behind it, a shadow shaped like a monster. The figure is cowering, not from the stone, but from its shadow. That is what most anxiety actually is. The stone is small. The suffering is real. But the suffering is caused by the shadow, the imagined version, the rehearsed version, the version you have been running in your head for 3 days. Seneca's test is this: does it hurt you when you think about it, or only when it actually arrives? Almost every time, the answer reveals the fear is a ghost. Try this. Write down the thing you are most anxious about right now. Then write 1 sentence. Has this actually happened yet? If the answer is no, write, My mind is fighting a shadow. Put the paper face down. Go do 1 concrete task with your hands. Come back when you are ready. The same Seneca, in a different letter, goes 1 step further. He is writing to Lucilius again. This time, Lucilius is facing a lawsuit and cannot stop imagining the worst outcome. Seneca's response is not to reassure him. It is to point at the economics of what he is doing. He writes, "Why is it necessary to summon trouble, which must be endured soon enough when it has once arrived, or to anticipate trouble and ruin the present through fear of the future? It is indeed foolish to be unhappy now because you may be unhappy at some future time." Here is the image I keep returning to, a stick figure dropping coins into a jar labeled Future Disaster. The jar has a hole in the bottom. The coins vanish. The disaster never arrives. Every hour you spend rehearsing a bad outcome is an hour that is gone. If the disaster comes, you will face it then. If it doesn't come, you will have paid the price anyway. Either way, you will pay the price anyway. Either way, you robbed yourself. Seneca called this drowning your soul in petty anxieties. He warned that the soul becomes too tired to face the actual crisis when it arrives. When you catch yourself rehearsing a bad outcome, ask aloud, am I paying now for something that hasn't happened and might never happen? Then do something physical and present. Wash a dish. Take 10 slow breaths. Step outside for a minute. Anchor in the actual moment, not the imagined one. Now here is the deeper question. Why does this happen at all? Epictetus had an answer. He was born a slave. His master once twisted his leg, an act of casual cruelty, and, Epictetus said, calmly, you will break it. The master twisted harder. It broke. Epictetus said, did I not tell you it would break? He was not performing indifference. He had found the line between what the world could do to him and what it could not touch. For a man with no legal freedom, this was the only freedom that could not be taken. He wrote, men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of things, not by events, by interpretations of events. The spinning mind is not a character flaw. It is the mind following every thought that arrives without stopping to ask whether it should. The overthinker is not more sensitive than other people. They are just less practiced at the pause between receiving a thought and accepting it. The next time a thought starts to spiral, say quietly, is this the thing itself, or my story about the thing? Pause for 3 seconds before you continue. That is the entire move. 3 seconds, one question. Smaller than it sounds, and more effective than it sounds. This is the one I keep coming back to. Marcus Aurelius wrote this in his private notebook. Say nothing more to thyself than what the first appearances report. Suppose that it has been reported to thee that a certain person speaks ill of thee. This has been reported, but that thou hast been injured, that has not been reported. Picture it. Someone says something unkind. That is the cucumber. To use Marcus's own image from a few lines later. A cucumber is bitter. Throw it away. There are briars in the road. Turn aside from them. This is enough. Do not add, and why were such things made in the world? The spiral almost always starts with the word and then, and therefore, and what if, and always, and never. Marcus was emperor of Rome during plague and war. He had every reason to ask why me. His practice was to stop before the first and, state the plain fact. Stop there. Then decide what, if anything, to do next. The next time something small goes wrong, say it out loud as one plain sentence, with no added interpretation. The meeting got rescheduled. Not the meeting got rescheduled and now everything is thrown off and they probably don't respect my time. Stop at the plain fact. Notice how different that feels. Marcus wrote something that surprised me the first time I read it. He says, men seek retreats for themselves, houses in the country, seashores, and mountains. But this is altogether a mark of the most common sort of men, for it is in thy power whenever thou shalt choose to retire into thyself. Tranquility is nothing else than the good ordering of the mind. He wrote this while commanding armies on the Danube frontier. No country house, no change of scenery, just war councils and plague statistics and the weight of running an empire. And yet he kept finding 10 minutes to sit with himself. What he discovered was this. The anxious mind is not soothed by a new location. It follows you to the beach. The storm cloud goes with you. The retreat has to happen inside the mind itself, by reordering how you are thinking, not by changing your surroundings. Picture a stick figure sitting inside a small, clear circle of calm, while arrows and storm clouds swirl everywhere outside. The calm is self-generated. It is not dependent on the environment becoming easier. Tomorrow morning, before you open your phone, close your eyes for 60 seconds. Do nothing except notice what is actually in the room around you. Temperature, sound, light, the weight of your own body. That is the micro-retreat Marcus was describing. You do not need a mountain. Epictetus taught this in a classroom. His student Arrian recorded it, and the image he used is one of the most practically useful things in all of Stoic writing. He said, "Wait for me a little, O impression. Allow me to see who you are, and what you are an impression of. Allow me to put you to the test. And after that, do not suffer it to lead you on by picturing to you what will follow. Otherwise, it will take possession of you and go off with you wherever it will." Picture a stick figure standing at a door. A small ghost labeled Thought is knocking. The figure holds up one hand, wait, before opening the door, and right next to it, another version of the figure who opened the door instantly and is now being carried away by a swarm of ghosts. The key insight is this. A thought is not a verdict, it is a visitor. You can look at a visitor before you let them in. Most anxious thoughts cannot survive 3 honest questions. Is this true right now? What is the actual worst case? Can I handle that? When an anxious thought arrives today, say silently, "Wait, let me look at you." Then ask the 3 questions. Is this true right now? What is the actual worst case? Can I handle that? Most thoughts cannot survive all 3. Try it once and see. Ryan Holiday, writing about the Stoic tradition, put it simply. The problem is that, unthinkingly, we think too much. Modern life treats a busy mind as a virtue. We call constant mental chatter processing. We mistake restless spinning for deep thought. But the Stoics described a mind in constant motion as one that had lost its governing faculty, the central self that was supposed to judge impressions before responding to them. When someone is overthinking, they haven't engaged this faculty. They have bypassed it entirely. Every incoming thought generates 3 more. Seneca described the result as a mind that wanders without any plan, not thinking deeply about one thing, but skimming anxiously across the surface of many things at once. Picture a head with a spinning wheel inside it, throwing off sparks, hundreds of tiny thought fragments flying everywhere. Then picture a second head with one single, slow candle flame. The Stoic prescription is the same in every era. fewer thoughts, held longer and more honestly. Set a timer for 5 minutes today. Write down every thought currently occupying your mind, the worries, the to-do items, the replayed conversations. Then circle the one that most needs your actual attention right now. Give that one thought the time it deserves. Let the rest wait on the page. Marcus Aurelius wrote 3 commands in his private notebook. No explanation, no elaboration, just 3 short lines. Wipe out the imagination. Stop the pulling of the strings. Confine thyself to the present. That phrase, stop the pulling of the strings, is the most precise description of overthinking I have ever encountered. It describes exactly what the spiral feels like. Not one big thought. A cascade of small ones, each pulling at the next, until the whole structure is vibrating. Picture a stick figure being pulled in multiple directions by strings attached to thought bubbles, labeled yesterday. What if, they said, what will happen? Then one panel, the figure cuts the strings. The next panel, the figure standing quietly in an empty space. Overthinking is almost always time travel. The mind is replaying the past or rehearsing the future. The present moment, what is actually happening right now, is almost never the problem. The spiral has no ground to stand on here. When you notice the spiral beginning, name where it is happening in time. Say, this is about the past, or this is about a possible future. Then find one thing happening physically right now. A sound, a sensation, your feet on the floor. Hold your attention there for 10 seconds. The spiral cannot survive contact with the actual present. This is the warmest one, and I have saved it for last. Marcus Aurelius wrote this quietly, almost gently. Thou canst remove out of the way many useless things among those which disturb thee, for they lie entirely in thy opinion. He was surrounded his whole life by people complaining about things they had no power to change. The gossip at court, the weather on campaign, the ingratitude of people he had helped. He noticed something. Not only could those things not be changed, they didn't even have to be carried. The person who gossips about you is not reaching into your mind and placing the worry there. You are fetching it. You are constructing it, maintaining it, returning to it. His observation is almost tender. He doesn't call this weak or wrong. He calls it unnecessary. Picture a figure carrying a large backpack full of thought bubbles. Their opinion, what might happen, what they meant should I have said that. The figure opens the bag and, one by one, simply sets the thought bubbles down. They float away, not because they didn't matter, because they were lying in opinion. And that is a place you actually have some say. Tonight, before sleep, ask, which of the things I am currently thinking about can I actually do something about before I sleep? Mark those. Everything else. Set it consciously aside. Say, this is not mine to carry tonight. This is not avoidance. It is the practice Marcus described. The Stoics were not asking you to stop thinking. They were asking you to notice that the mind, left alone, pulls towards spiral, and that the same faculty creating the spiral is the one that can interrupt it. The thought loops, the shadows on the wall, the jar filling with coins for a disaster that never arrives, all of it is running on borrowed time and borrowed suffering. You already have the tool. You just have to remember to pick it up. If this was useful, there are more like it on the channel. Take care of yourself this week.